what I was gonna reference in that report was your CA 4 item. And now that I've gotten all my documents up here, I apologize, Mayor Corbin, for getting all my items confused. Oh, I think I have it right here, because I had mine kind of highlighted, but okay, I'm going to use yours. We're actually pretty excited this quarter because we've actually seen an increase in our first quarter or through March. We've actually got an increase for the first time. If you can just take a look at your CA item here, and we clearly spell it out, the interest earned during the quarter was $122,066. And believe it or not, that's pretty exciting to us because in the past, that figure has actually been less for the last couple of years. And we attribute that to investing in CDs, believe it or not. We actually had to, it's a lot more paperwork, and we do have to sit down and have to decipher a lot of different things, but this is the best investment that there is in the market right now. We do use, the council did approve last year for us to finally use an investment advisory firm, but it's been a tremendous assistance to the city because we were just investing in pools, and pools wasn't doing us any justice. And we can see the improved overall average earning, 0.36%. Over 0.31%, and right now with the Federal Reserve not improving the rates, this is pretty much the best the city can do. And you can, if you'll turn the page here, you can see the investment portfolio summary, and of course we sign off as the finance director, and we've got the assistant director of finance, Marty Gillespie. She also signs this document, but what we do is we work with an investment advisory firm, and you can see that we've got the majority of our money is now being invested in CDs, and where we've got the average yield 0.16%, the majority is now in securities and CDs 0.50%. And that, believe it or not, makes a big difference. And at one point in time, we had the majority of our money invested in pools, and that wasn't doing us any justice here at the city. So it is a little bit more tedious, a lot more work, but it is for the benefit of our, maximizing our yield here with the city. And if you can see the number of CDs that the city does invest in, if you'll just kind of look at the detail of holdings, you can see the amount of money that is invested in the CDs, and it does give you a breakdown. And we take a look at all our funds because obviously we have to take into consideration any bond proceeds and when we're going to spend them down. So we get with the Public Works when they plan on spending that money down, and how liquid we, if we've got payroll, we've got to take all that into consideration. So we have a few people on our team that we pull together and that wear various hats. And so this is one of the other hats that we just kind of team together and see where we need to invest the money. But it's been a lot better investing in these CDs, and for that reason, we're kind of excited about these rates, believe it or not. But it's a lot better than what it was just putting a lot of that money in tax pool. So
the firm that you're talking about is Valley View Consultants, and if I remember right, that the investment policy is an annual approval document. That'll come before the council, I believe, is scheduled for sometime in June. Ms. Anderson is our representative?
Yes, sir. Susan Anderson is one of the representatives, one of the partners from Valley View Investment Advisory Firm. And she will, we're going to look at the entire document again. By statute, we should evaluate the investment policy and bring that before City Council so that you who make up the investment committee as City Council members can review it and make sure that you're comfortable with it and approve it or disapprove it or what have you. And we also bring these reports to you quarterly to make sure that you're comfortable with what we're doing on behalf of the city as far as investments are concerned. So.
Any other questions for Ms. Gonzalez? One question. Of the $175 or $176 million that we have in investments right now, how much of that approximately, and I know you don't know exactly, how much of it approximately is money that we've got off bonds and we still haven't spent the money?
That we still haven't spent the money. I know that we issued this last summer around $80 million, but I know that we've been spending that down. I could probably figure that out here by just pulling my.
No, just approximate. But, so this includes all the funds, not just the
Yes,
general
sir.
fund, but all the.
It's an average balance of total funds, so it would include the total funds, and it's. I could get that information for you, sir, pretty quickly.
And the point I'm making is, like, what did we pay in our last bonds? 3-point-something%?
Around, the yield was around 3.8% or 3.9%.
So we're in essence borrowing money at 3.8 and then taking that money and investing it at 0.5%.
Yes.
So which is not a good thing to do for a whole bunch of money for a long period of time, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to get a feel for how long we do that.
Exactly. We do, one of the things that we worked on in the prior year was to scrub the funds because we do have some outstanding bonds that had been sitting on the books for a long time, and that's why we had asked bond counsel to come in and explain why it was so important to spend those funds down and or decide. We have made some decisions with management. Mr. Morrison did allow us to pay some of the bonds down because we needed to use that money for that reason. And that is, if you don't spend the bond proceeds by a certain time period, you either use it for what those bonds were for, or you pay your bond payments. That's usually what you do with the bond proceeds that you have left over sitting out there. You're not supposed to spend it on anything else. So those are decisions that have to be made.
Or you could make a decision to retire some of the bonds, right?
Absolutely.
And reduce our debt.
Absolutely.
Instead of spend the money.
Absolutely.
Any other, Mr. Clark, I know you had a question.
I was just going to say, when I was on the council last year, I remember our discussions and with Valley View, and you didn't use the word, but we're using a certificate of deposit laddering system. And I don't think everybody in this council, unless they actually sat here while you were talking and started looking at the dates, would realize that that was a ladder system. And definitely the public out there, they might still be wondering what I'm saying when I'm saying it's a ladder system. But I'll defer that to you since you're the expert, so our citizens can hear that and understand that a little better.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. We're using a ladder system. In other words, what we do is we're investing the funds, and as soon as we take a look at all the different funds, and as soon as those projects need to be spent down and they're maturing, then there's a decision to allow that to mature and liquidate, and we don't need that particular fund, and we try to maximize a particular yield. And it's actually been a great process because we end up getting some great yields on it. And I don't explain the laddering process as nicely as Susan Anderson, but it has worked wonderfully for us. That's why we've been able to I mean, basically what you're doing is you're investing, and as those investments are, as you spend the money down, you reinvest if you have to, but if you don't, then you get to let that money liquidate and it's gone, especially in the bond proceeds. It's the, and you have a core amount set out there for the general fund operations and so forth and so on. So.
Any other questions? Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Flower?
Just a quick one, is there any cost in retiring a bond?
Well, there's always a cost associated whenever you're dealing with your financial advisors and bond counsels, so there's always going to be some cost that's associated with whenever you're working with any of your, I guess, professional services.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Next item is